Hello again, Warden. It is good that you came to speak with me. First, let me say that I knew your family. Eleanor, in particular, was dear to me, and what Hal did was unforgivable. How fitting he died at your hands. I will be blunt. I can see that your voice will be a strong one in days to come. It is to you that Eamon listens, and with good reason. My father must be stopped, but once that is done, Ferelden will need a ruler. I would welcome your support for my throne. That is exactly what I am proposing. When the time comes, you support my bid in the Landsmeet to remain on the throne. You will be seen as my father's enemy, yet you will be in support of his daughter. You will be seen as supporting the interests of Ferelden, as opposed to solely those of the Grey Wardens. In return, I add my voice to yours. Do you see? Together we can do what alone we cannot. Ignoring that the man looks so much like Cailan, my recently dead husband, if you'll recall, my main fear is that he might govern like Cailan as well. But it is true that Alistair has Therin blood. To some, this is more important even than practical considerations. A union might be considered a compromise, but is this something Alistair even desires? Let me say this. If Alistair is willing to stand back and allow me to continue governing the nation, then I would be willing to have him as my king. It is my understanding that governing does not appeal to him anyhow. If that is so, this is a compromise I can live with. Do so. I will be interested to hear what he has to say.
So I'm guessing someone told Honora I was planning to steal her throne. She has a nasty glare. She wants to be queen. I get it. I don't trust her any more than her father, but I get it. Marry her? As in marriage? As in be her husband? You've spoken to her about this? You did, didn't you? I can't say I like the idea at all. Why should I even consider something like this? You might have something there. All right. You've convinced me. If it comes to that, I'll agree to marry her. Make her help us all. Go and tell her, if you think it's a good idea. Me? I think I need a drink. Or 10.
Well, have you spoken to my lucky betrothed yet? Or will we be reduced to passing notes? He has? I wasn't expecting that, to tell you the truth. To marry Cailan's brother. Well, I suppose stranger things have happened. If it will truly help matters... Is this it then? I agree to marry Alistair to retain my throne, and in exchange I give you my support. If not, then tell me now. Done. So, we have a deal, Warden. I trust you'll keep your end of the bargain. Now, I suppose, comes the task of dealing with my father. That will be no small feat, of course, but I am certain you already know this. I imagine you have much to do. Is there anything else you needed from me? Ask me whatever you like. Of course it does. Do you think me heartless? But how much worse would I be to calmly stay at the side of a man who murdered my husband? He was, and far happier in the field than in the throne room. He was reckless, impetuous, and charming. Had he not been king, he would have made a dashing rogue for a band of players. We were a good pairing. He would not have wanted the burden of ruling any more than I would have liked to remain the silent wife in my husband's shadow. Cailan was so idealistic. The world was his storybook, and he was the hero. My father is different. He's an idealist too, but he knows what idealism costs. They often clashed, but never seriously, never for long. Cailan would always come round to Father's way of thinking eventually. And then the Blight came. Cailan dreamed of uniting all the nations of Thedas against the Darkspawn. It was a dream he wouldn't surrender. What my father saw, however, was the boy he had swaddled inviting Orlesian troops back into the land he had fought to free of them. And for once, my poor, foolish husband wouldn't back down. It was more than just my own loss, but I thank you all the same. They would not believe it, most of them, even from my lips. Loghain is the hero they've looked up to their whole lives. Far easier to believe you or me a liar than him a murderer and tyrant. That's why it will be critical to find some way to discredit him before the lands meet. We must have proof of my father's crimes for the bands, or they will never believe us. Ask me whatever you like. Do you want me to try my luck at fortune-telling? There was an old woman who read palms in the village of Gwarren when I was a child. She told me that I would have 10 children and be bald as a winter heath when I grew up. I can't say I put much faith in foretelling. What will happen depends much on you, Warden. But you certainly knew that already. Well, he was once a farmer when he was a boy, if you can believe it. I never could myself. He's useless with plants, for one thing. I remember my mother once asking his help with a sick rose vine. My mother oversaw the rose gardens personally. He touched it. No more than that. And it shed half its leaves like a dog with mange. She never asked for him to help with her roses again. He bought her another one, though. He carried it back from Denerim with the branches overflowing his saddlebag. Despite the thorns tearing him bloody, he wouldn't let anyone else take it. He wanted to be the one to present it to her. My father has his faults, Warden, but he is far from common. Trust would perhaps be putting it too strongly. My father knew what Howe was, and while I despised the man, I knew that father relied on his political mind. I expect my father thought himself above being influenced by the snake. Truly, I wonder how many of these acts stemmed from Howe and not my father at all. We may never know. I hope not, but I fear it is so, yes. Because he believes he is right, Warden. He thinks he is the only one who can see Ferelden out of its current crisis, even if it is one he helped engineer. My father is capable of remarkable blindness, but it stems from his love of Ferelden. That is the saddest part of all, I think. I'm not sure. I had no inkling of my father's plans until Cailan was already dead. I would like to think that my father planned for the worst, but did not truly decide that Cailan was a lost cause until that moment in Ostagar. The alternative is difficult to imagine. Then I wish you luck, Warden.
Ah, there you are. I was about to send out a search party. I've been hearing of a great commotion in the alienage. What exactly happened there? Make her forgive me. I should be appalled that such a thing could exist here. But I'm overjoyed you can implicate Loghain. We must end the civil war quickly. What the Blight does not corrupt in this land, politics surely will. The last of our allies have arrived in the city. We cannot delay any longer. I will call for the Landsmeet to convene. Bring Alistair and join me at the palace as soon as you are ready, Warden.
I shall do it.
Indeed.
Indeed.
Shall we?
Warden, I am not surprised it has come to this. And Alistair, if you were even remotely worthy of being called Marik's son, you would already be in the Landsmeet, now wouldn't you? You have torn Ferelden apart to oppose the very man who ensured you were born into freedom. But do not think you will get past me to desecrate the Landsmeet itself. The nobles of Ferelden will confirm my lord as regent, and we can finally put this to rest once you are gone. I have had so many doubts of late. Loghain is a great man, but his hatred of Orlais has driven him to madness. He has done terrible things. I know it. But I owe him everything. I cannot betray him. Do not ask me to. I never thought duty would taste so bitter. Stop him, Warden. Stop him from betraying everything he once loved. Please, show mercy. Without Loghain, there would be no Ferelden to defend.
My lords and ladies of the Landsmeet, Tyrn Loghain would have us give up our freedoms, our traditions, out of fear. He placed us on this path, yet we should place our destiny in his hands? Must we sacrifice everything good about our nation to save it?
A fine performance, Aemon. But no one here is taken in by it. You would attempt to put a puppet on the throne, and every soul here knows it. The better question is who will pull the strings. Ah! Here we have the puppeteer. Tell us, Warden, how will the Orlesians take our nation from us? Will they deign to send their troops, or simply issue their commands through this would-be prince? What do they offer you? How much is the price of Ferelden honor now?
Some of us are curious, Loghain, about precisely what happened at Ostagar.
So, one of Cailan's killers would dare speak of betrayal. You led our king to his death with your grandiose tales of griffins flying into battle.
What's this? There is no slavery in Ferelden! Explain yourself!
There is no saving the alienage. Damage from the riots has yet to be repaired. There are bodies still rotting in their homes. It is not a place I would send my worst enemy. There is no chance of holding it if the Blight comes here. Despite what you may think, Warden, I have done my duty. Whatever my regrets may be for the elves, I have done what was needed for the good of Ferelden.
Indeed. Do we not owe it to Merrick to see his son on the throne?
If he were a true son of Merrick, I would not hesitate to swear fealty to him. But I see nothing of Merrick in this pup. But enough of this. I have a question for you, Warden. What have you done with my daughter? You took my daughter, our queen, by force, killing her guards in the process. What arts have you employed to keep her? Does she even still live?
I believe I can speak for myself. Lords and ladies of Ferelden, hear me. My father is no longer the man you know. This man is not the hero of Riverdane. This man turned his troops aside and refused to protect your king as he fought bravely against the Darkspawn. This man seized Kaelin's throne before his body was cold and locked me away so I could not reveal his treachery. I would have already been killed, if not for this Grey Warden.
So, the Warden's influence has poisoned even your mind, Anora. I wanted to protect you from this. My lords and ladies! Our land has been threatened before! It's been invaded and lost and won times beyond counting. We Fereldans have proven that we will never truly be conquered so long as we are united. We must not let ourselves be divided now. Stand with me, and we shall defeat even the Blight itself!
The Warden. I'm with the Warden. Southreach stands with the Grey Wardens.
Waking Sea stands with the Grey Warden.
Dragon's Peak supports the Warden!
Western Hills is with you, Loghain. Make her help us.
I stand by Loghain. We've no hope of victory otherwise.
I stand with the Warden. The Blight is coming. We need the Grey Wardens.
Traitors! Which of you stood against the Orlesian Emperor when his troops flattened your fields and raped your wives? You fought with us once, Eamon. You cared about this land once. Before you got too old and fat and content to even see what you risk. None of you deserve a say in what happens here. None of you have spilled blood for this land the way I have. How dare you judge me? Then, let us end this. I suppose we both knew it would come to this. When we first met at Ostagar, I would never have thought so, but Ostagar seems like it happened in another lifetime to someone else. A man is made by the quality of his enemies. Marek told me that once. I wonder if it's more a compliment to you or me. Enough! Let the Landsmeet declare the terms of the duel.
It shall be fought according to tradition. A test of arms, in single combat until one party yields. And we, who are assembled, will abide by the outcome.
Will you face me yourself, or have you a champion? It is you or me the men will follow. So, let us fight for it. Prepare yourself. underestimated you, Warden. I thought you were like Cailan, a child wanting to play at war. I was wrong. There's a strength in you that I have not seen anywhere since Maric died. I yield.
Wait, there is another option. Batean is a warrior and general of renown. Let him be of use. Let him go through the joining. What does loyalty matter? We are what we are. The joining binds us to the Darkspawn. You know this. If you were to forswear your oath and flee today, you'd find yourself in the Deep Roads, or the Blight Lands given time. You'd seek them out, or they'd seek you.
The joining itself is often fatal, is it not? If he survives, you gain a general. If not, you have your revenge. Doesn't that satisfy you?
Absolutely not! Riordan, this man abandoned our brothers and then blamed us for the deed. He hunted us down like animals. He tortured you! How can we simply forget that? Joining the Wardens is an honor, not a punishment. Name him a Warden and you cheapen us all. I will not stand next to him as a brother. I won't! Loghain is a traitor. We need him like we need to be stabbed in the back. Or have you forgotten how his being a great general didn't help the last time? I didn't want to be king. I still don't. But if that's what it takes to see Loghain get justice, then I'll do it. I'll take the crown.
Listen to this. Can you see how disastrous a king he'd be? Putting his own selfish desires above the needs of his country? You can't seriously support him.
And I thought you weren't going to stab me in the back. Funny how nothing ever turns out like you thought.
Alistair, compose yourself.
Fine, you want Loghain and the Grey Wardens so badly? Then I'll be leaving the Wardens to marry Anora. Right.
And now, lords and ladies of Ferelden, there is still a Blight to defeat, and armies to gather. And I appoint this man to lead us in both. We will not allow this land be further threatened by the Archdemon. Gather your forces, and await the Warden's command. On the morrow, we shall begin our struggle against the greatest threat Ferelden has ever faced. And we shall triumph over it, for we are Ferelden.
You are called upon to submit yourself to the Taint for the greater good. From this moment forth, you are a Grey Warden.
I understand.
So it's done. My father lives, and for good or ill, he is now a Grey Warden. Thank you for giving him the opportunity to undergo the ritual. It couldn't have been easy. He does indeed. And my future husband is upstairs, no doubt glaring out of the window and pouting. He is so much like Cailan, it's disturbing. Maybe. He suddenly seems more determined than I recall. You're doing, I imagine. Arl Eamon has left for Redcliffe, and tells me that our armies have almost fully gathered there. I will be heading there myself. Bring your companions, and join us at Redcliffe Castle as soon as you are able. You have united Ferelden, Warden. Now we face the Blight.
Right here, old pal. Aye, all right then.
This is a nice estate, isn't it? What's on your mind? It is...
This is a nice change from having to sleep in the woods, isn't it? Something I can help with?
You know, I could get to like this. The last time I came to Denerim, I stayed at an inn so filthy the bedbugs had fleas. Your wish?
Everything in here appears to be breakable. It seems most impractical.
Let's not spend more time here than we must.
Oh, there you are. Come to offer congratulations, I suppose? Maybe you intend to throw me a party to celebrate my engagement. I get that you think so. Loghain let all the Grey Wardens die. Let his king die. All because he thought he alone could defend Ferelden against the dreaded Orlesians. No matter what your plans are, he deserved to die. He deserved justice. And you made him one of us! It would have meant Duncan could rest easier. Me too. But why should I complain, right? I'm the king now, and with a beautiful fiancée who is going to remind me of her father every time I look at her. I'll make the best of it, I guess. I'm not going to roll over and let Anora rule, that's for sure. Well, good luck, I suppose. You have a lot to do now. And so do I.
Indeed. Indeed.
Yes.
shall be done.
It's you! The Grey Warden! Andraste's mercy that you got here when you did. I thought for sure these monsters were going to get me. They all fled to the castle this morning, before the Darkspawn arrived. I thought I could make it to my home and back before they got here, but it took me too long to get down here. What a relief you arrived. I'm going to get out of here before any more of those things arrive. Thank you again.
Quickly, we must fight! Careful!
I shall do it.
shall do it. As you say. Very well.
Cross me and you shall pay! Make the preservers! Watch
Don't give them the advantage! It's over!
Too easy.
My lord, you're here. Thank goodness. They are both inside with Riordan of the Grey Wardens, who arrived this morning, just ahead of the Darkspawn. I was told he has urgent news and to send out patrols to watch for your arrival. Then we were attacked. I should take you to the hall right away, my lord. They'll be waiting for you there.
It's a relief to see you unharmed. And you as well, Loghain.
Yes, what a pleasure to see you again.
The Darkspawn that attacked Redcliffe were relatively few in number, I'm afraid. It was assumed the Horde was marching in this direction, but that is not true.
Riordan tells us that the bulk of the Horde is in fact heading towards Denerim. They are perhaps 2 days away from the capital.
How certain are we that this is good information?
I ventured close enough to listen in, as it were. I am quite certain.
Word has been sent, but they need more than warning. They need our armies.
There is, I'm afraid, one other piece of news that is of even greater concern. The Archdemon has shown itself. The dragon is at the head of the Horde.
Maker preserve us.
And we won't be able to reach Denerim within 2 days.
We must begin a forced march to the capital immediately with what we have. Denerim must be defended at all costs.
The Horde must be defeated, but the Archdemon is our true target. And only the Grey Wardens can defeat the Archdemon. That is why we must go.
Then we march, and hope the army collected here gives you the chance you need. Arleman, how long before the army can set out?
By daybreak, Your Majesty.
Then give the order. The longer we delay, the longer Denerim will be at the mercy of the Horde.
I will give the orders at once, and will notify you the moment we are ready to march.
Excellent.
Then if you and Loghain could meet me before you retire, we have Grey Warden business to discuss.
I will have someone show you to your rooms. I suggest you all get some rest while you can. We will need it.
And now Denerim is under assault by the Darkspawn. The death toll will be staggering. I wish you luck, Grey Warden, for all our sakes.
Marrying Alistair to Honora would not have been my first choice. Still, it does keep the Therin bloodline alive, and Honora is a fine ruler. So I suppose I owe you thanks, Warden. All of Ferelden does. He insists on going. How can I say no? I am uneasy with the danger he puts himself in by accompanying you. I ask myself if he does not conspire to leave the throne to Honora after all. But Alistair knows his duty. He will do what is best. Right now, he believes that is assisting you in contacting your allies. We have sent messengers to Orlais. With any luck, the Empress will send us help within a week. I think it entirely possible, however, that she has written Ferelden off as a lost cause already, and will seek to defend her empire first. Perhaps the Grey Wardens of Orlais will be able to march and reach us in time. We should not rely on their arrival, even so.
And what word have we from Orzammar? Has House Clorette sent their men or haven't they?
They're stalling, which is as good as a no.
House Clorette's feud with House Romuald has flared up again since their son died in that Deep Roads business. So naturally they're pleading the need for self-defense.
Fine time to start with that nonsense again. I've half a mind to... Evening to you, Grey Warden. Didn't realize you were still up and about. Nothing that can be dealt with now, I'm afraid. Just one of the houses being thicker than the stone that made them.
Once all of this blight business is done, there will be a reckoning in the Assembly.
They're probably half hoping we'll all wind up dead. That way they'll have one of the strongest forces left in Orzammar.
Enough to face the Darkspawn all on their own, I suppose? That's exactly the kind of half-arsed thinking that got us into the mess after Endron passed.
It was our good fortune that you decided to go to Orzammar when you did, Grey Warden. For all that a surfacer needed our help, I expect we needed yours more. Resting? Who can rest after the march we had just getting here? You tall races have it so easy.
That and we're kept up thinking about the coming battle.
Are things truly that desperate? Do we stand a chance of losing? I hope you're right. Under the open sky is a terrible place to consider dying, that's for sure.
Right. Off to camp with both of you, and keep the drunkenness to a minimum. We have a long way to go yet. Pleasant evening to you, Grey Warden, and good fortune on the field of battle.
I know that look. You have something on your mind, don't you?
Right here, old pal. Aye, all right then. I am listening.
Ah, fancy meeting you here. I heard rumors that Redcliffe was once again open for business, but my word, isn't this amazing? Such bustle. The Earl has kindly offered my son and I lodgings in exchange for supplies. I'm happy to help him. And you too, of course. If you have need of my wares, you have but to ask. I'm sure you'll be pleased with the goods my boy and I have collected, and with your discount.
Let's see what this Riordan has to say.
You're both here. Good. You're new to the Grey Wardens, and you may not have been told how an archdemon is slain. I need to know if that is so.
It is indeed. I, for one, am most intrigued to hear this.
So it is true. Duncan had not yet told you. I had simply assumed. Tell me, have you ever wondered why the Grey Wardens are needed to defeat the Darkspawn? That is exactly what it involves. The Archdemon may be slain, as any other Darkspawn, but should any other than a Grey Warden do the slaying, it will not be enough. The essence of the beast will pass through the taint to the nearest Darkspawn and will be reborn anew in that body. The dragon is thus all but immortal. But if the Archdemon is slain by a Grey Warden, its essence travels into the Grey Warden instead. A Darkspawn is an empty, soulless vessel, but a Grey Warden is not. The essence of the Archdemon is destroyed, and so is the Grey Warden.
The Grey Warden that kills the Archdemon perishes.
Yes. Without the Archdemon, the Blight ends. It is the only way. In Blight's past, when the time came, the eldest of the Grey Wardens would decide which amongst them would take that final blow. If possible, the final blow should be mine to make. I am the eldest, and the taint will not spare me much longer. But if I fail, the deed falls on you. The Blight must be stopped now, or it will destroy all of Ferelden before the rest of the Grey Wardens can assemble. Remember that. But enough. There will be much to do tomorrow, and little enough time to rest before it. I will let you return to your rooms.
And this will be dealt with soon. One way or the other.
So it will. Let us hope it ends for the better.
Do not be alarmed. It is only I. I did not come here to speak of sentimental things. I came here to speak with you. I have a plan, you see. A way out. The loop in your hole. I know what happens when the Archdemon dies. I know a Grey Warden must be sacrificed, and that sacrifice could be you. I have come to tell you that this does not need to be. I know a great many things. How I know is not quite as important as what I am offering you, however. I offer a way out. A way out for all the Grey Wardens, that there need be no sacrifice. A ritual. Performed on the eve of battle, in the dark of night. Perhaps, but that price need not be so unbearable. Especially if there is much to be gained. All I ask is that you listen to what I have to offer, nothing more. What I propose is this. Lay with me, here tonight, and from our joining, a child will be conceived. The child will bear the taint, and when the Archdemon is slain, its essence will seek the child like a beacon. At this early stage, the child can absorb that essence and not perish. The Archdemon is still destroyed with no Grey Warden dying in the process. Not at all. It will become something different. A child born with the soul of an old god. After this is done, you allow me to walk away, and you do not follow. Ever. The child will be mine to raise as I wish. This is what my mother intended when she sent me with you. She was the one who first gave me this ritual and told me of what I was meant to do. This does not surprise you, does it? Did you not wonder why Flemeth saved your life? Why she aided you? This is why. What is important is that I am offering this to you now. It will work, and it will save your life. Caring for you, as I've come to? That was not part of the plan. But I cannot let what I feel interfere with what I must do. This is important to me. The fact that it may save your life makes me all the more determined to see it done. Please, do not cloud the issue. If you feel anything for me, then accept that it will make what we must do that much easier. As you wish. Ignoring that after but one night it could barely be called a child, no, it will not be hurt. It will be changed. Allow me to say that what I seek is the essence of the old god that once was, and not the dark forces that corrupted it. Some things are worth preserving in this world. Make of that what you will. I do not wish to tell you. The child will represent freedom. For an ancient power, a chance to be reborn apart from the taint. Is that not reason enough to do it? I will raise the child apart from the rest of society and teach it to respect that from which it came. Beyond that, you need know nothing else. No, you never will. This is all I ask in return for freeing you from the burden the Grey Wardens have placed upon you. Then you have decided? A wise decision. Come, my love. Put the thoughts of the ritual aside and let us make this last night together one to remember.
We have gathered all the forces we can. The Darkspawn Horde is sure to reach the capital before us. And so we must race to Denerim as quickly as we can. The lives of many thousands hang in the balance. We must not forsake them. You have gathered an army to replace the one lost at Ostagar, Grey Warden. Let us pray that it will be enough.
Before us stands the might of the Darkspawn Horde. Gaze upon them now, but fear them not. This man beside me is a native of Ferelden, now risen to the ranks of the Grey Wardens. He is proof that glory is within reach of us all. He has survived despite the odds, and without him, none of us would be here. Today, we save Denerim! Today, we avenge the death of my husband, your King Cailan! But most of all, today, we show the Grey Wardens that we remember and honor their sacrifice! For Ferelden! For the Grey Wardens!
All of the thieves ahead.
We must
Another down.
Get off!
More the fools they!
Press forward!
It's begun. It's begun. No glory in bloodshed! You will win!
Wipe them out!
It's begun. We must fight. Let us do it quickly.
Lost the and you shall pay!
It's a fine thing we've done.
Another battle like
You've managed to...
That will change quickly.
Bloody Nug Runners are outnumbered 3 to 1.
What are we to do now, Riordan? You have a plan, I assume?
The army will not last long, so we need to move quickly to reach the Archdemon. I suggest taking Loghain and no more than 2 others with you into the city. Anyone you don't bring with you can remain here to prevent more Darkspawn from entering Denerim and our tails. I need to go in separately. If we're together, the Archdemon will sense us before we're ready. We're going to need to reach a high point in the city. I'm thinking the top of Fort Draken might work.
You want to draw the dragon's attention, I take it?
We have little choice, though I warn you that as soon as we engage the beast, it will call all its generals to help it. I can sense 2 generals in Denerim. You may wish to seek them out before going to Fort Draken.
I am sure that if we did slay those generals, it would stop the Darkspawn in the city from doing a lot of harm.
It may also waste resources trying to find them. The decision is up to you. There are already several units of our allies within the city by now. They may be able to come to your assistance if you call them, but their strength will be limited. Now, who do you wish to take with you into the city?
Indeed.
Indeed.
Yes.
Fair enough. Anyone else will need to remain here and assist in keeping more Darkspawn from coming in the gates behind us. Who will lead them?
Fine. Let's just move into the blasted main event already.
Good. That should be sufficient. Nothing you have done has prepared you for what you face now. May the Maker watch over you.
So this is it then. All that we've been through has led up to this. Whatever happens now, to either of us, know that I am proud, infinitely proud, to have called you friend. Farewell, and may the Maker watch over you.
So, this is it. Honor? Nobody's looked at me and seen honor in a long time, Warden. You took in a drunken disgrace of an Orzammar warrior. You gave me a reason to fight, and the will to keep going. You helped me find the one woman in the sodding world who might put up with me. And you helped me get past Branka so I could have someone new. I owe you a lot, Warden. I consider it a fine honor to die for you and your cause. Then it's sodding honor for everyone. That's war for you. Let the stone turn red from the blood of heroes. Today, I will be the warrior you taught me to be.
So the Archdemon is next, is it? Part of me is glad that it has decided to leave me here at the gate, but the other part is apprehensive. I would almost say that I feel concern for something other than myself, even maybe for a soft, squishy companion. But that would be silly, wouldn't it? And, do try not to get swallowed whole. If the beast were to fly about afterwards and poop it out, irony would dictate that it would land on me. I couldn't take it. Well then, I suppose this is it. Have fun storming the castle.
Are you ready? We have reached the battlefield at last. I have done nothing. You have carried us this far. Do not doubt that.
So this is it? This is the end? We've come so far. It's strange knowing that all our fates will be decided in a matter of hours. We stand on the precipice before the greatest battle of our age. I wonder if the heroes of old ever felt like this. I am not afraid. We go to fight for a good cause, and there is nowhere else I would rather be. You are a dear, dear friend, and I will stand with you to whatever end. This day, we will forge a legend of our own.
Heading off to slay dragons without me, Fine, fine. Say hello to the Archdemon for me. He never writes anymore. It's rather distressing. And do watch your back. No getting eaten, unless you think it's really important, of course.
Let's get this over with then. There is little time to waste.
So we head into the city together. As it should be. Once this is done, no matter how it turns out, I will be gone. You are aware of this, yes? I do not think that would be wise. Allow me to say only one thing before we go.
I was foolish. This could have been so much easier, yet I cannot regret what was between us. I will always remember you, my love. Now, let us see this finally done. The Archdemon awaits.
Godless bastards!
We're counting on you, Warden!
Make her watch over you!
Darkspawn! Quickly, we must fight!
As you say. It has begun.
You! It's you! The Maker sure gave you the gift of good timing, didn't he? There's a large group of Darkspawn approaching and the gates won't hold. We need your help. All right. I only hope there is time to...
They're breaking through!
Run! All of you! Run for your lives!
As you say.
Beware! A large group of Darkspawn have broken away from the battle. They're charging this way! They'll be here any minute! In the memory of King Karen! You're gonna get yours!
Shall I send word that the gates are secured? Right away.
Warden.
Maker be praised! I suppose violence is the solution. Sometimes. Who said that? You forced our hand.
Live to fight another day.
Yeah.
Darkspawn!
Shall we go? I shall do it. I shall do it.
Trap right ahead.
Shall be given. Now we do battle.
As you say.
Enchantment? Enchantment! Enchantment?
It has begun. Very well. It shall be done. Wipe them out! Shall be done. I shall do it. It has begun.
Rush ahead.
I shall do it. Shall be done.
Here comes trouble. It's your time to die.
Don't give them the advantage!
I do not fear!
It has begun.
I'm here. As you like. It's done.
As you say.
And then, it was over. With the Archdemon dead, the Darkspawn horde quickly crumbled. Most fled back into the deep roads. They would remain a threat in the years to come. But the Blight had been ended before it had truly begun. Ferelden had been saved, and the entire kingdom rose up to joyously greet its queen. Grey Wardens stood redeemed, and a new age had begun. But at what cost?
My friends, we are gathered to celebrate those responsible for our victory. Of those who stood against the Darkspawn siege of Denerim, there is one in particular who deserves commendation. The one who led the charge against the Archdemon and killed it remains with us still. An inspiration to all he saved that day. Ladies and gentlemen, I present the hero of Ferelden. The first Grey Warden to defeat the Blight since Garahel 4 centuries ago. Grey Warden, it is hard to imagine how you could have aided Ferelden more. I think it only appropriate that I return the favor. Is there any boon you might request of Ferelden's queen? An excellent point. We can begin with a monument here in Denerim, dedicated to Alistair and all the other Grey Wardens who fell to save us. We should also collect scholars to learn more about the Darkspawn. We'll face them again, here and with the dwarves. Let it also be known that the Arling of Amaranthine, once the land of Arlhow, is now granted to the Grey Wardens. There they can rebuild, following the example of those who went before them. What are your plans? Will you remain with the Grey Wardens? I am certain they will be relieved to know your intentions. There is a group of eager Ferelden citizens waiting outside to get a look at their hero. I suggest you make at least a brief appearance before they storm the gate. Just tell the guard at the door when you are ready.
I don't think we have much to say to one another. You killed the Archdemon, well done. The Grey Wardens seem to be mighty curious as to just how you managed to pull that off without dying. Morrigan saved you? Well, that figures. That might also explain why she ran off right after the battle. The Grey Wardens will be interested in figuring out just how she did that. Look, you made me king, and I'm grateful. And Duncan would have been happy the Blight is over. I'm actually a bit jealous that you're staying with the Grey Wardens, to be honest. I'm sure we'll see each other again. Until then, you'd best get on with your procession. Your adoring public awaits.
Allow me to offer you my personal congratulations, Warden. I must admit that while I did not share my father's pessimism regarding the Grey Wardens, I had my doubts that such a small number of you could be victorious. Yet here you are. The Maker smiles upon you, or so they are saying. Luck and destiny are two branches off the same tree. Tell me something. Is Alistair always like that? And he may yet be a good king. To be honest, he has surprised me with his eagerness. Still, his jokes, if one can call him that, are already giving me headaches. Oh well. His heart is in the right place. In that, he reminds me of Cailan, which is no failing. Now I see Arl Eamon gesturing to me. There is more work to be done. I must take my leave of you, I fear. Enjoy the rest of the celebration, Warden. I shall speak to you again before the day is done.
It is over. I can barely believe it. You stopped the Civil War and then defeated the Blight. On behalf of Ferelden, allow me to say thank you. It truly cannot be said enough. So I'm learning. It's too bad that you aren't remaining here in the capital. The hero of Ferelden would have influence, but I understand. Myself, I will be remaining here to help Alistair. Tegan will take over the rule of Redcliffe, at least for the time being. Connor seems well enough, and Isolde refuses to speak of what happened. She says she never wants to go back. I cannot thank you enough for saving them. They are the joy of my existence. Tell me, have you noticed anything strange about the lad? He seems quiet. You are no doubt correct. It is my imagination, I am sure. But here I am rambling on. I shall let you get back to your celebration, Warden. Enjoy it while you can.
So it appears that Riordan was wrong. I find it difficult to believe that he deliberately misled us. Have you another explanation for what happened? I should have known. The witch disappeared not long after the battle and has not been seen since. I assume this was expected. Still, the Orlesian Grey Wardens have been persistent in their questions. I intend to keep any thoughts on the matter to myself. I understand you're returning to the Wardens, as am I. I've been tapped to lead up their recruitment efforts here in Ferelden. Anora's influence, no doubt. I would have preferred she not interfered. So it appears. Let us put an end to the chatter here. I'm sure neither of us has the stomach for it. Go and return to your celebration. Regardless of what I might think, you ended the Blight. You deserve your accolades.
So it survived after all. My impression that all creatures made of flesh were hopelessly squishy was, premature. It has made me revise my opinion of its kind. My kind. I am, or at least was, a dwarf. A creature of flesh. I have to keep reminding myself that. In fact, I think I may even try to become one again. Wynne has offered to accompany me to Tevinter to speak with the mages there. The Circle of Minrathrus has the largest collection of arcane knowledge in Thedas. If it is possible to reverse this process, then the knowledge to do so will be there, or that is my hope. And if not, then I will keep looking. I have nothing if not time, yes? I intend to return eventually, unless I finally decide to destroy all pigeons everywhere. That may take a while, but otherwise I will come back. If it happens to one day see a tiny little dwarf who appears very nervous of being squished, that will be me. Until then, I wish it well. You have been a fine friend.
When I heard that my little brother was not only a Grey Warden, but also leading Ferelden into battle, I was surprised, to put it mildly. Father, he would have been so proud of you. I know I am. You've done good. I never made it to the battle at Ostagar. We were still scouting in the wilds when we were attacked by a party of Darkspawn. Most of my men were killed. I woke up 2 weeks later in a Chase-Ind hut, wounded and feverish. By the time I was able to sneak out of the wilds, you were already marching to Denerim. I tried to get word to High Ever. You can imagine what happened, I suppose. Yes, I'm trying not to think too much about them. Hal was a greedy, traitorous bastard. I just wish I'd been there to help you kill him. At least Amaranthine now belongs to the Grey Wardens. There's some justice in that, I think. I need to go back to High Ever. See if I can clean up the mess Hal made of it. I will see you soon, I hope. Good. High Ever won't be the same without everyone around. Take care of yourself, you hear? Or I'll find you and nag you like Mother did until you're ready to tear out your hair.
So here we are. The conquering hero has won the day, and now he takes his bow and exits the stage. A fine ending. And my part was small. I'm happy to watch you receive the accolades. It's quite fun. You know, I can't help now but think of my vision. The Maker sent me to help you, and look what you did. It's a miracle. It truly is. I've been asked by the Chantry to return to the Urn of Sacred Ashes. I need to make sure it's protected. Maybe pilgrims can even begin going there again. I expect to leave a month from now, with a small army of Templars and priests. It will be a grand adventure of my very own. I'm looking forward to it. At any rate, you should get back to the celebration. We can speak another time.
I will be relieved when all this pomp and ceremony is done. Such events are perfect opportunities for assassins, after all. I can't help but expect the crows to appear at any moment, which would be a welcome break, mind you. Eventually, with Taliesin dead, it may take them time to figure out what has happened, but they are like the tides, predictable. You know, it does occur to me that staying in one place is only going to invite the crows to find me that much quicker. While fun, that might eventually get complicated. You said earlier that you were planning on returning to the Grey Warden fold soon. Is that true? And would you consider some company? You tend to get up to interesting things. You meet interesting people and then you kill them. I'm game to tag along if you are. And I promise not to get you into too much trouble. Well, no more than you get me into, anyhow. Well then, since we're going to be leaving together, we can speak after you have been sufficiently paraded in front of the populace. Don't worry, I'll keep an eye on you and make sure no one gets a clear shot. Not without paying me a great deal of coin, anyhow.
The hero of Ferelden. My. How does it feel? I suppose it is at that. A blight defeated with the other nations barely becoming aware. Who could ask for better? I'm glad not to be on the receiving end of all this attention myself. I say, let the young have their fame. Not that I've gone without notice. Irving asked me to take over as first enchanter, but I don't wish to go back. Not after all this. Instead, I've decided to travel. Shale has expressed a desire to go to Tevinter to look into a way to regain her mortality. And I will join her. It seems that a creature of flesh impressed her enough that she is willing to discard her notions about them being frail and disgusting. I wonder who. At any rate, I offered to bring her before the Tevinter mages. Their lore is considerable, and I've always wanted to travel to Minrath Ruse. I doubt we will meet again, young man. If not, please accept my best wishes.
Humans have a better taste for spirits than I thought. The ale up here is actually good. Orzammar ale tastes like dirt in comparison. Probably because they put dirt in it. Go figure. For now. They may have already branded me a surfacer back home anyhow. I'm getting used to that big sky up there. And I'm thinking I might just look up Felsi again. See where that goes. Ha! I'll drink to that. Ah, well, enough babbling. That pot-bellied son of a whore Tegan said I'd pass out before drinking an entire barrel of pickle juice. I aim to prove him wrong. It's been good traveling with you, Warden. Don't get lost in the shuffle now.
It is good to see you again, Kadan. These people, they call you hero. It is a strange word, but I think I understand its meaning. The Arishok on occasion has declared a Kunari to be Kunoran Vel, one who serves as an example to others. Such examples are always made after their death, however, a death in service to the Kyun. A living Kunoran Vel would be too proud. When a Kunoran Vel is declared, certainly. It is one of few occasions when the Kunari are permitted to engage in revelry. There is imbibing of spirits, public chanting, meditations abandoned. It is madness. It is interesting. It can take days for the Ben Hasrath to restore order. There may even be executions. I suppose I should tell you. I have decided to return to my people. Your quest is done, and thus so is my reason for accompanying you. Yes, it will be difficult to travel alone, after so much time spent with companions. It must be said, you found my sword and gave me a chance to restore my honor. I owe you a great debt. It has, that one of the Baz, a foreigner, would become known as Kadan to me. Unthinkable. Yet here it is. Perhaps I shall see you again one day. Until then, may you always find the path you seek. Farewell, Kadan.
It has begun.
Are you ready, my lord? The crowds outside are getting restless. Right. I'll take you there now. Follow me.